Hey, we're just going to break for a minute because Luke Roberts, the executive media director for Dynamo Pro, is in the building. Luke, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. It's awesome to be here. Thank you for having me here this evening.
Yeah, we're super excited. We've got a great video of the wrestling guys in their practice last week, but tonight they've all decided to come into NexCore and join us. Luke, this is Vic Porcelli, the radio legend. He's in the building as well.
Luke, how are you, baby?
Different window. So if you can give us a little bit of background about what you guys do and how that's all going down?
Well, Dynamo Pro Wrestling has been in existence now for 13 years. It's a family-owned and operated professional wrestling organization. From top to bottom, we have by far the best professional wrestlers, not just here in the St. Louis area, but from around the country. We've had wrestlers who've competed in many states and many countries around the world. And tonight we're going to have an opportunity to look and see just a little bit behind what makes Dynamo Pro Wrestling go. You're going to get an opportunity to kind of see a little bit of the behind the scenes, those that are aspiring to become professional wrestlers, as well as those that are not only wrestlers in Dynamo Pro Wrestling, but I believe we're also going to have an opportunity to talk to some of the champions of Dynamo Pro Wrestling right here tonight.
Very excited. So tell us, what does it take to be a pro wrestler?
I'll tell you right now, it takes a lot of heart and dedication. I had the opportunity, I was a pro wrestler for several years before injury sidelined me. I mean, again, it takes, a lot of people say, oh, it's a trampoline, oh, this, that, and what. No, it's not. It's plywood and steel. It's unforgiving. That ring is literally one of the hardest surfaces that you're ever going to compete on. If you have an opportunity to watch pro wrestling, you watch boxing, you watch MMA, it's not a trampoline. It's a legitimate fighting surface. And you have to be able to put your body through wear and tear. There is no off season in professional wrestling. Right. You have to be able to compete. You have to be able to go to an event, compete, sometimes 20, 30 minutes a night, travel, try to keep your diet in check, try to keep your physical health in check, and in a lot of cases, do it right again the next night. It's a lot of wear and tear on the body. It's a lot of wear and tear mentally and physically.
You know, Luke, if I could just break in here real quick, I'm glad that you're keeping, there's such a rich tradition of wrestling in this town, going back to wrestling at the Chase. And, you know, I think a lot of people just miss that kind of stuff. And I'm not even sure they know it's still around.
Well, Vic, you brought up a real great point, too, in the idea of where professional wrestling, for many years, back in the days of wrestling at the Chase and back at the days of Sam Muchnick here in the great area, St. Louis has always had a very rich history of professional wrestling. And professional wrestling, Dynamo Pro Wrestling in particular, has been focused for a better part of 13 years to keep that tradition alive here. There are many wrestlers that have been a part of Dynamo Pro Wrestling that have gone on to some of the largest professional wrestling companies in the world. I know for a fact we've had wrestlers that have gone to such promotions as Ring of Honor to Pro Wrestling Noah to the WWE. There are a lot of professional wrestlers who are in Dynamo Pro who've really made a statement being in Dynamo Pro, whether it's starting off as an aspiring wrestler in the Dynamo Pro Dojo, all the way to those that are competing for championships today. From top to bottom, some of the best wrestlers in the area are keeping that proud tradition alive.
You know, Luke, I go back so long and so far as a professional wrestling fan. I go back to the Worldwide Wrestling Federation on the East Coast, Bruno Sammartino and Ivan Koloff and Chief J Strongbow and guys like that. And it's been so long. I mean, it's been, 50 years since I started watching professional wrestling, and I'm glad you're keeping that tradition alive. How do people find out about you? Is there a website to find out schedules and matches?
Well, Dynamo Pro Wrestling has a lot of different avenues we go at. We have dynamoprowrestling.com, which gives you not only information about the wrestlers' upcoming events, merchandise. It also, if you were to go right now, would give you a in-depth look at all three of the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championships: the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship, the D1 Championship, and the Dynamo Pro Tag Team Championships. We're also very prevalent on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. We've got matches and things of the sort on YouTube. If you go in and type in anything in the world of social media or the World Wide Web and type in Dynamo Pro Wrestling, you're going to see the best in professional wrestling action with everything you see.
I will. And where are the venues? Where do the matches happen?
We've had over the course of 13 years, we've had events in a lot of different locations. Currently, we primarily have had events at the Concordia Turner's Gymnasium here on Gravois in St. Louis. We've had events at the Sports Academy in Glen Carbon, Illinois. We've had for the past 3 years, we've had the Riot on the River series, which has taken place at the loading dock in Grafton, Illinois.
Oh, wow.
We've had events in Columbia, Missouri. We've had events in Pittsfield, Illinois. We've had events in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Basically, Dynamo Pro Wrestling is all over the bi-state area, bringing professional wrestling to the fans, the great wrestling fans here in the St. Louis area.
Fantastic. I mean, professional wrestling is just one of the most entertaining sports around, you know. And, you know, it was funny. When I knew we were going to talk to you guys, I was outside and I was thinking about Madison Square Garden in New York City. And when Bruno Sammartino died, they put on the big scoreboard that's outside, they had a tribute to Bruno Sammartino, who sold out Madison Square Garden like 38 times, you know, for professional wrestling. And sometimes I just feel like professional wrestling doesn't get the credit it deserves.
And I couldn't agree with you more, Vic. When you look at professional wrestling, when you look at places like Madison Square Garden back in the days of Vincent J. McMahon,
right,
father of current owner Vince McMahon. When you look at professional wrestling like Sam Muchnick here in St. Louis, you look at people like Don Owen, you look at Fritz Von Erich, you look at Paul Bosch, you look at all these Eddie Graham, you look at all these legendary professional wrestling promoters and competitors who've gone out there and they give their life to the sport of professional wrestling. And I'll tell you right now, you talk about Bruno Sammartino. I remember when I was very, very young, one of the first opportunities I heard a story of pro wrestling was from my father, talking about the night Ivan Koloff became the WWF champion. And you could hear a pin drop in Madison Square Garden because Bruno was literally had been champion, I think it was 7 years.
Right.
And you sit there and you look at things about professional wrestling. I mean, again, you're sitting here right now, you see all the big name promotions like your Ring of Honors, your WWEs, your AEWs, but all the professional wrestlers have to have a place to start from. All the professional wrestlers have to have that learning opportunity. Dynamo Pro Wrestling with the Dynamo Pro Dojo, as well as Dynamo Pro Wrestling events, give our male and female competitors the opportunity to get in a ring and to compete with the highest caliber of professional wrestler and professional athlete here in the bi-state and throughout the country and throughout the world.
Right, and I would forget about the women, you know, people to follow in the footsteps of the fabulous Moolah, right?
Fabulous Moolah. You can look at Mae Young. You can look at Mildred Burke. And I'll tell you right now, the Dynamo Pro Women's Champion, the Empress of Evil Reign Victoria, if I'm not mistaken, just eclipsed 700 days.
Wow.
Wrestling Women's Champion. She is, I do believe, if my records are correct, the longest reigning champion in Dynamo Pro Wrestling history, male or female.
Right.
And you sit there and look at it, I mean, again, all the men and women who step inside that squared circle are putting their bodies, their lives on the line each and every day. Everybody says, oh, well, you know how to do this or you know how to do that. I'll tell you from 33 years experience, I've seen everything from cuts and bruises to broken necks, broken legs, broken arms, broken backs.
Sure.
It's a tough grind. But the Dynamo Pro Wrestling carry that torch very well.
Luke, give us the website again so people can get more information, people that want to see it. And, you know, there are kids out there, or maybe not even kids, that want to get into it as a wrestler. So, again, give us the website where people can get everything they need.
If you want to follow Dynamo Pro Wrestling, you can check us out at www.dynamoprowrestling.com. You can also check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can check us out on all forms of social media to watch the best in professional wrestling, Dynamo Pro Wrestling.
Fantastic.
And
Luke Roberts, thanks.
Are connected on Facebook. I mean, the statistics for your post compared to everybody else were completely through the roof. Like 3,000 views and shares. Like,
people in St. Louis are crazy about wrestling.
How connected they are on the social media platform. I mean, you guys are just out there, you're all supporting each other.
And it's not just the local wrestlers in the local wrestling community. There are many different professional wrestling groups like podcasts, radio shows. I know for a fact that there are organizations out of Kansas City, the Talk Podcast. I know the Attitude of Aggression out of Bakersfield, California. Pro Wrestling Opinion out of New York City. There are a lot of different podcasts. There's radio stations, the Brothers on Whatever podcast. There's a lot of different groups. When Dynamo Pro Wrestling is mentioned in anything, especially here in the St. Louis area, it just kind of seems to grow. And tonight, the viewers here are going to have an opportunity to see what Dynamo Pro is truly all about.
Well, you know what? I wish you nothing but the best, Luke, because, like I said, the wrestling history in this town is so rich and so crazy. The fans are absolutely crazy for wrestling. So we wish you nothing but the best, okay?